3 investigators, a journalist, a paranormal researcher, and a cameraman, visit the ruins of Borley Rectory to document its haunted history. They soon realize that something sinister is still lurking there, and the more they uncover, the more the entity tightens its grip on them. The team arrived at the ruins of Borley Rectory, the infamous most haunted house in England. The air was thick with silence, broken only by the crunch of dead leaves underfoot. Lucy adjusted her equipment, scanning the area with curiosity, while Ryan set up his camera. Ethan, taking a deep breath, felt a strange unease settle in his chest. "Let's get started," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Lucy's EMF detector spiked suddenly, its lights flickering erratically. "That's not normal," she muttered, glancing around. The wind picked up, carrying with it a faint whisper, a woman's voice, distant and sorrowful. Ethan looked up sharply, scanning the ruins. Ryan frowned. "Did you hear that?" he asked. The whisper faded, but a lingering chill remained in the air. As they explored the outer walls, Ethan's flashlight revealed faint scratches on the bricks. Words, barely legible, carved into the stone. "Help me, he watches." A shiver ran down Lucy's spine. "These weren't here in the old reports," she whispered. Ryan captured the markings on film, but his hands trembled slightly. "Feels like we're being watched," he murmured, glancing over his shoulder. A sudden metallic clang made them all freeze. The broken church bell, untouched for decades, swayed gently as if disturbed by unseen hands. "That's impossible," Ethan muttered. Lucy checked the wind. There was none. Ryan pointed his camera at the bell, zooming in. "I swear I saw something up there," he whispered. A flickering shadow, gone before he could focus. Ryan gasped as his camera captured something eerie. Fresh footprints in the dust, leading toward the collapsed hallway. Small, barefoot impressions as if left by a child. But there was no one there. "No one's been here in years," Lucy murmured, her voice tight with unease. Ethan swallowed hard. "Then who made these?" The silence pressed in around them. Ethan's flashlight flickered violently, plunging the ruins into shifting shadows. "Damn thing's brand new," he muttered, tapping it. The light steadied, only for Ryan to grab his arm. "Ethan, over there." In the darkness beyond, faint figures wavered like mist before melting into the walls. Lucy inhaled sharply. "We're not alone," she whispered. A soft sobbing sound echoed through the ruins. Lucy turned sharply, her breath catching. At the far end of the hall stood a woman, a nun, her face hidden beneath her veil. "Oh my God," Ryan whispered, but before he could capture the image, the figure flickered and vanished. The crying, however, continued, coming from everywhere and nowhere. Lucy gasped as an icy chill wrapped around her. Her breath turned to mist, and the temperature dropped sharply. "It's freezing here," she stammered. Ethan stepped closer but recoiled instantly. "The ground," he pointed. Beneath Lucy, the stone was blackened, scorched as if something had burned there long ago. "A fire," Ryan murmured, "or something worse." Ryan's camera caught it first, the faint movement on the wall. Then, before their eyes, words began to form, as if scratched by unseen claws. "Leave." Lucy took a shaky step back. Ethan clenched his jaw. "We came to document the truth," he said, voice firm. The wall trembled, and the letters deepened, as if the house itself had responded. They rushed back to the entrance, but the gate was locked. The chain, which had been discarded earlier, was now tightly wound, the lock sealed with rust. "No way," Ryan muttered, yanking at it. Lucy's hands trembled. "Something doesn't want us to leave." Ethan's pulse pounded. "Then we find out why." Behind them, the ruins whispered, welcoming them deeper inside. Ryan stared in disbelief. "The road, it's gone." Where the path had once been, there was now nothing but swirling mist. Lucy shivered, gripping her EMF meter, which spiked wildly. "It's like the house doesn't want us leaving," she whispered. Ethan clenched his jaw. "Then we stick to the plan. We find out what's keeping us here." But deep inside, he wasn't sure they wanted the answer. As they moved deeper into the ruins, a sound made them stop. A slow, deliberate scratching came from the door ahead. Ethan raised his flashlight, and Ryan's camera captured it. Deep grooves forming across the wood, as if something unseen was clawing at it from the other side. "That's Not possible, Lucy whispered. The scratching stopped suddenly. Silence. Then, a single knock. Ryan aimed his camera at the ruined walls, scanning for movement. Then he froze. Ethan, look. He pointed at the shattered window above. In the reflection of the moonlight stood a shadowed figure, unmoving, watching them. That wasn't there before, Lucy breathed. Ethan's stomach twisted. The figure had no face, just a void where features should be. And then it moved. A sudden, icy grip clamped down on Lucy's shoulder. She gasped, spinning around. Nothing was there, but Ryan's horrified expression told her otherwise. Lucy, don't move. He lifted the camera, capturing the ghostly imprint of a hand on her coat. The fingers were too long, too slender. Something touched you, Ethan muttered. The imprint lingered, then faded. They followed the trail of cold spots to a collapsed section of the rectory. There, hidden beneath ivy and debris, was an old doorway. This isn't on the original blueprints, Ethan muttered. Lucy ran her hand along the stone. The air here was different, thicker, charged with something unseen. It wants us to go in, Ryan whispered. None of them wanted to, but they had no choice. Inside, the air was suffocating, thick with dust and something else. Something watching. In the center of the chamber sat an old wooden table, a single candle resting on its surface. No wind, no electricity, Lucy murmured. Then, without warning, the candle flared to life. The flame burned steady, casting unnatural shadows. Ethan swallowed hard. We're not alone. Ryan turned his camera toward the corner and gasped. Lucy, look. There, kneeling in the dust-covered floor, was the figure of a nun. Her hands were clasped in silent prayer, her form flickering like an old film reel. A whisper drifted through the room. Save me. Ethan felt his heart pound. Save you from what? The nun slowly turned her head, but there was no face beneath the veil. Ethan wiped dust off an old mirror, staring into his own reflection. But something was wrong. His reflection lingered a second too long after he moved. Then, behind him, something else appeared, the faceless nun. Reaching out, he spun around, but the chamber was empty. The mirror cracked violently. Ryan took a shaky step back. I think we just pissed something off. They found it beneath the floorboards. A small coffin, forgotten and rotting. This isn't in any record, Lucy whispered. Ethan's hands trembled as he wiped away the dirt. A faint scratching sound came from inside. Then, slowly, the wood splintered. A skeletal hand emerged, fingers twitching unnaturally. Ryan stumbled back. We need to get out of here now. They ran for the exit, but the doorway was gone, sealed by stone as if it had never been there. No, 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 Ryan muttered, pushing against the wall. It was solid. Lucy turned back toward the chamber. The candle still burned, casting shadows that twisted and shifted. One of the shadows was moving on its own. The air thickened with whispers, voices speaking in hushed, desperate tones. Lucy strained to make out the words, but they overlapped, chaotic and fragmented. Ethan gritted his teeth. It's like they're right next to us. Ryan's camera lens fogged up, as if the breath of unseen mouths brushed against it. The whispers merged into a single word. Run. The candle on the table flared, its flame turning an eerie blue. Shadows danced unnaturally, stretching across the walls in grotesque shapes. Ryan gripped his camera tighter. Something's here with us. The temperature plummeted. Lucy could see her breath. Then, slowly, the shadows began to move toward them, creeping closer. A heavy silence fell. Then, from the shadows, it stepped forward. A towering figure, faceless, its form shifting like smoke. Ethan felt his chest tighten. This isn't just a spirit, he whispered. Lucy's body locked in place as the entity reached out, its fingers stretching toward them. Ryan fumbled with his camera, but the lens cracked on its own. The walls groaned. Then, as if an invisible hand was carving into them, words began to appear. She must not leave. Blood-red letters twisted across the stone, shifting between languages. Lucy's knees nearly buckled. Who? She whispered. The walls shuddered, and an unearthly scream erupted, deafening and filled with pain. The room spun. Suddenly, they weren't in the chamber anymore. A vision played before them. A nun, bound in rusted chains, buried alive beneath the rectory. Her muffled screams filled the air as dirt was thrown over her. Lucy clutched her head, overwhelmed by the horror. This is the curse, she gasped. She was murdered. The vision shattered, but the pain lingered. Amid the dust and debris, Lucy spotted it. A rusted crucifix, warped and unnatural. It pulsed with an energy she could feel in her bones. This belonged to her, she whispered. Ethan hesitated. If the curse started with her, maybe ending it means setting her free. But as Lucy reached out, the air around the crucifix darkened, resisting her touch. The ground trembled. Deep scratches gouged the wooden floor, fresh and jagged. Something was trying to get out. Ryan stumbled back, his camera shaking in his grip. No. The scratching turned to pounding, a desperate, furious force from beneath. She's still trapped, Lucy realized, but something else was trying to keep her buried. The temperature dropped below freezing. Then it spoke, not with a voice but inside their minds. Leave her. The faceless entity loomed over them, its elongated fingers dripping with inky blackness. Ryan's camera short-circuited. Lucy's breath hitched. It's protecting the curse, she realized. Ethan clenched his fists. Then we break it. Lucy gripped the crucifix, whispering a prayer she barely remembered. The air swirled, voices screaming in protest. The entity's form distorted violently, writhing against an unseen force. Ethan and Ryan braced against the energy surging through the room. She deserves peace, Lucy cried. The crucifix burned in her palm, the light intensifying. The nun appeared, her form no longer flickering, her veil pulled back to reveal sorrowful eyes. She reached toward the crucifix, her presence calming the storm of energy. The entity howled, its form unraveling, defeated. The rectory trembled, the weight of centuries lifting. Lucy's vision blurred as the nun whispered, "Thank you." Then, with a final sigh, she was gone. The air inside the ruins felt lighter. The oppressive weight that had smothered them since their arrival was gone. Lucy exhaled shakily. She's free. Ethan nodded, but his gut twisted. Then why doesn't it feel over? Ryan's camera flickered, static distorting the screen. Outside, the wind had died completely. The night was too silent, unnaturally so. A low rumble vibrated beneath their feet. Ryan nearly dropped his camera. "Tell me you heard that." The ground cracked, thin slivers of black mist seeping through the fractures. Ethan's stomach dropped. The curse wasn't just about her. Lucy took a step back, eyes widening. Something else was buried here. Something worse. A gust of cold air blew through the ruins, stirring the dust. At their feet, an old book lay open, its pages flipping as if an unseen hand was guiding them. The name on the page twisted, shifting into something unreadable. Lucy squinted. This isn't Latin, something older. The ink bled outward, forming dark symbols. Ethan swallowed hard. We weren't supposed to see this. The mist thickened, curling upward, and then it took shape. The faceless entity was back, but it was different, taller, stronger. The void where its face should be pulsed like a black hole, absorbing the light around it. Ryan stumbled backward. This isn't the same thing we saw before. Lucy's voice shook. It's what was controlling it. The ground trembled harder. It was awake now. The light shifted. Ethan looked up and his breath caught. The moon was no longer white but a deep, blood-red orb hanging in the sky. Ryan whispered, "Tell me that's normal." Lucy shook her head, her fingers tightening around the crucifix. "It's reacting to something, to him." The faceless entity stepped forward, and the temperature dropped to freezing. Ethan hissed, clutching his wrist. A burning sensation seared through his skin. Ryan's flashlight revealed a dark mark etching itself into his flesh, glowing faintly. "Ethan, what is that?" Lucy gasped. He gritted his teeth, the pain unbearable. "I don't know, but I think it means we're running out of time." The entity loomed closer, its void-like face staring directly at him. The air vibrated. Behind the entity, the mist swirled violently, shaping into something alive. A chorus of whispers overlapped, voices speaking in a language none of them understood. Lucy clutched her ears. "It's inside my head," she whimpered. Ethan fought to stay upright, the voices pounding against his skull. Ryan's camera crackled, the audio filled with distorted screams. The world twisted, the ruins stretched, bending at unnatural angles. Ryan's camera glitched violently, warping the image beyond recognition. Ethan staggered, his vision doubling. "It's breaking reality," he gasped. Lucy grabbed his arm. "We have to stop it before it fully manifests." But the entity only loomed closer, growing stronger with every passing second. A flicker of movement caught Lucy's eye. She turned and gasped. A spectral woman stood beside her, clad in Victorian garb, her eyes hollow. Her lips moved, but no sound came. Lucy leaned closer, straining to understand. Then, suddenly, a whisper broke through the noise. "You must leave, before it's too late." The entity moved, faster than before. Its arms stretched, tendrils of darkness unraveling from its form. The mist swirled violently, rising like a living shadow. Ryan grabbed Lucy's arm. "We need to go, now." The ground beneath them cracked, the air vibrating with an unseen force. Ethan clenched his fists. "If we run, it follows us." The entity loomed, its void-like face twisting. This wasn't over. The ground heaved beneath them as the ruins trembled violently. Stones tumbled from the crumbling walls, barely missing Ethan's head. The mist thickened, swirling into impossible shapes, warping the air itself. Ryan clutched his camera. "It's getting stronger." Lucy's hands trembled. "If we don't stop it now, we never will." The entity loomed, its presence suffocating. Ethan gasped, clutching his wrist. The mark seared into his skin, pulsing like a heartbeat. Black veins spread from it, crawling up his arm. "It's using me," he choked. The entity's faceless void seemed to lock onto him, drawn by the energy. Ryan grabbed Lucy's arm. "We have to break whatever this is now." "But how?" A gust of wind flipped the pages of the ancient book on the altar. Lucy's eyes widened as the glowing words revealed themselves. This is a banishment ritual." Ethan groaned, his vision blurring. "Then do it," he rasped. Ryan turned pale. "But what if it makes things worse?" Lucy's jaw tightened. "If we don't, we're dead anyway." The entity lunged, its fingers unnaturally long, wrapped around Ethan's body, lifting him from the ground. Ryan yelled, grabbing his arm, but an invisible force threw him back. Lucy screamed, reciting the first words of the ritual. The entity shrieked in response, a sound so inhuman it sent chills through their bones. The fight had begun. The blood moon blazed, its crimson light intensifying. Lucy's voice grew stronger, the ritual words burning into the air around them. Ethan's body convulsed as the entity tried to consume him. Ryan stumbled to his feet, holding on to Lucy. "It's working," but the ground split wider, the mist clawing at their legs. The entity wasn't giving up. A sudden stillness fell. Then they appeared, dozens of spectral figures, their hollow eyes watching from the shadows. The spirits of the forgotten, the cursed. Lucy gasped as they turned, facing the entity. The air trembled as the spirits whispered in unison, their voices blending into an eerie, powerful chant. The entity recoiled, its form distorting. The spirits were fighting back. The entity convulsed, its form flickering like a dying flame. The spirits' whispers grew louder, weaving through Lucy's ritual. Ryan gritted his teeth. "It's working. Keep going." Ethan's body dropped to the ground, gasping for breath as the dark tendrils retracted. The entity let out a distorted, rage-filled scream, its void-like face warping violently. Lucy's voice reached a crescendo, her words laced with an energy she couldn't explain. The spirits formed a circle around the entity, their light piercing through its darkness. The ruins trembled, the very fabric of reality bending. "Be gone," Lucy commanded, her voice merging with the spirit's chant. The entity shrieked one final time, before collapsing into nothingness. The night returned to silence. The mist was gone. The blood moon had faded. Ethan lay on the ground, gasping, his body free of the mark. Lucy slumped next to him, her energy drained. Ryan let out a shaky breath. Did we win?" The ruins, once alive with horrors, were now just ruins again. Empty, silent. Ryan adjusted his camera, his hands still shaking. "We need to go," Ethan muttered, his voice hoarse. Lucy nodded, stepping away from the ruins. But as Ryan took one last shot, his heart stopped. In the distance, just beyond the crumbling walls, a figure stood, still, watching, faceless. Then it was gone. The haunting was over, but something still remained.